Buddy of mine, he's a pastor. His men in his church came to him recently, very angry. It was the first day of school. These dads who love Jesus and their kids take their responsibility seriously. They take their kids to the local public school. And when you used to go to school or drop your kids off, what was usually at the head of your desk? Your name tag. And now these dads saw in elementary school, starting in kindergarten, a rainbow with a sliding scale for gender spectrum. And so each kid every day gets to decide what their gender is for the day. And then the other children are supposed to go around and figure out what everyone's gender is for the day, and then appropriately speak to them according to their gender pronoun. The point is this: we're no longer even identifying people by their name or by their God-given gender. Instead, we're allowing people who are way too young to make any important decisions. Let me say this: if much of your diet still includes crayons and glue, you're not ready to make major life decisions. But you're dealing with it and we're dealing with it. And we deal with this in our day where if you are a man, they call that masculinity toxic. And the problem in our day is not toxic masculinity, it's the complete lack of masculinity from the White House to the outhouse. From top to bottom, we're lacking strong, healthy, godly, vibrant, capable, confident, courageous male leadership. The world has a lot of problems, and the solution starts with the men. So it's an honor to have you. And let me talk first about gender, sex, gender, and sexuality. And the way we got into this total cultural disaster, this sociological experiment that is failing miserably, and how we got to this place. Your sex, if you're under 25 or went to college, just hold your chair because you're gonna implode. So sex is, it's how many categories? 2, male, female. Crazy, I know. We're probably already done on the internet. I mean, that's probably all it took. Sex is male and female, binary gender categories, and this is your biological status. This is chosen by God, not by you. It's chosen by God, not by you. Some of you guys may be very confused. You say, how do I know? Well, if you have a mirror, your sex chromosomes, your gonads, your internal reproductive organs, your external genitalia. Now, the truth is, there are some babies born and their sex is unclear. That's 1.1 to 0.2% have ambiguous external genitalia. 1 to 2% have lesser ambiguous, but some confusion of their biological sex at birth. Gender, crazy. Sex and gender go together. Gender's supposed to flow from sex. So men are supposed to be masculine, women are supposed to be feminine. We used to know this before we got educated beyond our intelligence. And the way it would work, how many of you are older men, and when the child was born, they'd say, it's a boy, or now they say, it'll determine in 3rd grade. And we used to wrap the baby in a blue blanket for a boy and a pink blanket for a girl. Now we put the baby in a rainbow blanket and, demons attack it and we hope it works out. And so that's where we find ourselves, total confusion. Sex, gender, and then sexuality. So men should be sexually attracted to women. I'm giving you boys a layup here. It's easy, okay? And women should be attracted to men. Sex, gender, sexuality. God determines your sex. Gender flows from the God-determined sex. And then sexuality is attraction toward the opposite sex. True or false? That's not the world we live in. Okay, here's the word versus the world. And let me say this, the battle is always between what the world says and what the word says. Let me just make this very clear. There is nothing holding back the complete disillusion and destruction of Western culture other than the Word of God. The only thing left that provides sanity, some sense of order and law and rule for human life and flourishing is the Word of God. But there is a constant conflict between the world and the Word. In the Word, sex is fixed binary. We're going to talk about this, male, female. Gender is fixed binary, masculine, feminine. Sexuality is fixed, one man and one woman in the covenant context of consummated marriage. That's the word. Here's the world. Sex, it's fluid on an intersex spectrum. Well, today I might feel different than I do tomorrow. So my sex is not determined by God, it's determined by me. It's not fixed, it's static, and it's not binary, it's on a spectrum. Gender is fluid on an unfixed spectrum. One day you feel masculine, the next day you feel feminine, the next day you're somewhere in the middle. And then lastly, sexuality is fluid on an unfixed spectrum. Today I'm attracted to this person, tomorrow I'm attracted to that person. My sex identity, my gender proclivity, my sexual reality are completely, continually moving targets. There's no consistency. And you just need to know, first and foremost, men, this is all driven by the porn industry. The more porn you watch, the more confused you are. You'll be confused about sex, gender, and sexuality. Okay? We're going to talk about this as we get deeper into the talks. I'm going to lay the foundational framework today, and then we're going to get into how this applies to marriage and sexuality and work and worship and all of life. But the entire goal of pornography is to literally re-hardwire the neural pathways in your brain so that you don't understand sex, gender, and sexuality according to the word. Instead, you're corrupted according to the world. And the way this works now, it's a whole secular cult called wokeism. It's a non-religious but highly spiritual cult that has overtaken Western culture. And woke is the opposite of being born again. Everything God creates, Satan counterfeits. So in Christianity, you are born again, and in wokeism, you are awakened to see how you're a victim, not a villain, how you're a good person, not a bad person, how nothing in you needs to change, but everyone needs to change how they respond to you. And in Christianity, when you get saved and you're born again, then you get baptized, and the counterfeit of that in the woke culture is coming out of the closet. That's their way of taking their private beliefs public and no longer being ashamed of their behavior.
Hey, howdy, Pastor Mark here. Thanks for viewing the clip. And if you'd like the entire sermon, we've got it ready to go.